Hello and welcome to the Codec Moments podcast. I'm Andy Brown and we're here today to talk about some super fabulous games from yesteryear. Joining me today is the lovely Dr. Matthew Holt.
Hello.
And the beautiful Ali Cornwolf.
Oh, hello.
How you boys doing?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I say we're good. I'm good. Ali needs to speak for himself, obviously.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
It's the eve of the new Grand Prix season.
Yeah.
It's qualifying tomorrow, the day after we're recording this. I'm excited about it. I've just joined Ali's Fantasy F1 League, which I'm actually quite excited about. And the only thing we haven't done, we actually haven't set up a championship for this year. We haven't started doing it yet. And we need to do that.
Yeah.
I need to join the Fantasy F1 League, I think, because I've been playing fantasy football since I had a child, because the NCT group I was in do it every year. That's my concession to football. So if I can do fantasy football and not know anything about it, I don't think I've checked my team since I set it up in I don't even know when the football season starts. When was that?
September.
August.
Have you won like the last 3 years?
Do you know, ironically enough, I did win 1 year because everyone thought I was cheating, but I was just following the rules by making clever captain substitutions, and I worked out that if I swapped my captain on the occasions that I could, according to the rules, I could maximise the points I scored every week because no one else had twigged it.
Nice.
So but I think I am losing miserably this year because, like I said, I've not checked my team since September.
Right.
So I'm going to join. I'm not going to be a threat. Don't worry.
No
You
worries.
never know.
Senna's still driving, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Schumacher.
What, Bruno?
Yep.
Yeah. Can I have Hill and
If you want Hill and
Eddie
Herbert,
Irvine.
that's fine. Hill and Herbert are still presenting it, so you're all right there. They might not finish first.
Okay. So what are we doing here today?
Well, we kind of kicked it off. Well, you've kicked it off by thinking back in the past about your knowledge of F1 and making all of us feel very old. But yeah, Ali, you had the suggestion. Go on, tell us.
I won't lie. It's something that's coming up on a future episode of Film Guff as well. But basically, at the start of the year, a lot of people on Facebook were doing a 10-year challenge, and it was, here's a picture of me 10 years ago. And whether you believe it or not, apparently it could be a way of the CIA and various other agencies taking these pictures to define their aging process or youthfulness.
Oh man, you're paranoid.
Yeah. No.
I read about this and I really love that idea because it's just essentially about training a database, isn't it? It's about training and intelligence. And yeah, what better than to have a defined data set where you say, here's two images, one is 10 years older than the other. Look for what's different and what's the same, and then do a trend analysis of it. Genius.
It's a bit bizarre because you would have thought that people would do it on 2020. 10 years ago, 2010, what did you look like? But for some reason we did it in 2019.
Yeah, but so by 2020 it'll be out in the wild. It'll be in action at every train station and airport that you walk through.
For you.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was part of the rumour, but everyone was doing it on Facebook. So I came up with the idea that how about we do it for games. So what games were released in 2009 compared to obviously 10 years ago from 2019?
I'm going to suggest, without giving any spoilers away on the list, but we're still playing the same games 10 years on.
Not all of them. Some of them have epically died, and some a lot of them 10 years ago are systems that some people still play, but they're not active as such. Like, for example, the PS3 is now out of production.
Yeah, the Ouya.
And that. We're just going to pick some games, have a chat about them, and see what happens.
All right, lovely stuff. Well, let's jump in, shall we?
Why not?
And I take it this is in no particular order. We're just going to rattle through a big long list.
Between us, we've already discussed our three big titles that we're going to talk about. And then we'll just rattle through a few honourable mentions, if you were, games that we did play quite a bit as we go through.
Sounds good.
Right, okay.
So the two was going to kick us off?
Right, yeah, okay. Well, I'll kick us off then. So, looking back 10 years, there were some awesome games released in 2009. I think the one thing that it's done is kind of made me think, oh yeah, 2009 was a really good year in gaming. And maybe if we went back and we looked at other years, we'd think the same. I don't know, but no, there's something special about 2009, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the movie industry, no spoilers for Film Guff episode that's coming out soon, but That was immense, and I struggled to pick. I think we did 3 films each, or it might have been 5 in the end because there were so many good films.
So, kind of looking at the list of things that were released. I mean, some of the smaller things, close to your own hearts. Colin McRae, Dirt 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
I spent far too many hours on that. Platinum that game. Rinsed it. Loved it.
Game, a series we were talking about. I don't even know when that came out. When did the Trials thing come out? When did we post that?
Have we posted it?
Is that coming on Tuesday?
Yes. Yeah, no, it was last week's.
I kid. I kid. We posted it. It actually came out 2 weeks before recording this.
Oh, I can't.
And it was the first episode in March.
We've never been in a position before where we're putting out so much regular content that I can't remember when things were actually posted. But Trials HD was released on the Xbox Live Arcade in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
And another XBLA classic, Shadow Complex, as well. And they were both released like a week apart. What else? I mean, Matt, looking through what floats your boat?
Off the smaller things, there were loads. DJ Hero.
Oh yeah, that was right up your street. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been up your street as well. It spawned a second game, but DJ Hero in itself, I have a lovely fond memory of heading round to VDJ OMBs. Heading round to Connor's with my turntable. So he had it as well, so we could do 2 DJs, and he had microphones from SingStar, and that's where we learnt you could actually rap along to the songs as well. And him doing a Soldier Boy rendition still is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And why is this
I
not
only
recorded?
wish I recorded. I wish we had. It was hilarious.
I would pay good money to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll see your DJ Hero, and I'll raise you a Guitar Hero Metallica.
Oh, nice.
Which was more my jam back in the day, and I remember playing that a lot. I carted that game plus guitars, because I think you got 2 guitars with it, if I remember rightly, or with certain packs, and the drums and whatnot. And really, really enjoyed that. I'm a big Metallica fan.
It was right in the heart of the music peripheral games, wasn't it? Because I think there were 2 or 3 Guitar Hero versions released that year.
Was this the second game where it was purely on one artist? Was the first one Aerosmith? I think
it might have been, but then did we get one of the rock bands that year? Was it Rocksmith?
Beatles.
There was all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was right in that period, right where those big plastic chunky controllers came into their own, and face it, we were all playing them.
In some way, shape, or form.
It would have been about that time. Was Guitar Hero 3 that I remember playing on the Wii. That's the only version I ever owned and played.
So Guitar Hero 3 and Metallica came out around the same time.
Yeah, we had 3 as well, and played that to death. Super! Oh, great fun.
Yep.
What else? What else was? I'm not going to say this one's fun because it was just weird but strangely addictive. But do you remember Nobby Boy?
I don't. No.
It was exclusive to the PS3. It was controlling a worm-like thing with dual sticks. You just had to make it move a distance, but all the distance data was uploaded to a central server that calculated full distance, and the target was to get Nobby Boy to the moon. It was really weird, and one of those lovely obscure bits of throwaway bizarreness that Sony used to put out, which we don't see anymore.
I know I never played that one. What I did, speaking of Sony, it would have been around about the time I picked up a PSP Go.
Oh.
The things I remember from my PSP were Little Big Planet, the port.
Yeah.
Not really port. It was a sequel, really, wasn't it, to the PS3 game that was released the year before?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, yeah.
We'll go with that. I don't know either way. I would just...
It was, yeah, sequentially. It was it was the one where he's like going on holiday, and I think you start in Australia, and then you travel off to different places around the world.
Is that the one that was voiced by Stephen Fry?
I think they all were, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the first 3 plus the PSP. I can't remember. I think the Vita one might have been as well.
Oh, okay.
And then also on the PSP was Gran Turismo PSP.
I had that.
I had that.
Well,
Yeah.
it
It wasn't as good as you thought it was going to be.
no. We were waiting for a PSP Gran Turismo for a long time. Yeah, that was, as always, it's a Gran Turismo game. It's in development forever. And we were so excited for it, and we got it, and it looked great. It played great. It just had no Gran Turismo mode. The entire point of wanting it on handheld, and it didn't have what we wanted.
Yeah, it was just an arcade racer where you could import your cars from GT5, wasn't it?
Yeah. Some great ideas. Just where was the stuff we really wanted? That was the big question for Polyphony there.
Was it the PSP or was it the Vita that was rumoured for years? I don't know if it ever actually worked, where you could sync up, I guess it would be with the PS3, one of those two handheld devices, and use it as a rear view mirror.
It was the Vita. It was when they were still, I think it was before they launched, wasn't it?
No, it was.
Wasn't it?
No, Ali's right. It was actually supposed to be implemented for the PS3 F1 game, and that you could use the PSP as a rearview mirror, and it actually never came to fruition. As far as I remember,
it was rumoured for Gran Turismo as well.
I thought it was the PSP 2 kind of reveal when they were saying that was a thing you were going to be able to do remote play. I didn't realise it was the PSP.
It was supposed to be on the PSP back with the original release. Oh God, was it the F1 Championship Edition that they called it when they released the PS3? And it was supposed to hook up to that. I think you were supposed to have both copies, and it would do it, but I don't think it was actually there in the end.
I mean, it sounds good and everything, but then when you think about it logistically, you're going to have to dangle your PSP from the ceiling to make it work.
Oh, like an air freshener.
I mean, otherwise you've got it sat in your lap, and every time you need to look behind you, you're looking at your crotch. And that just doesn't. That's not good driving technique. Yeah.
No. So go on. I'm seeing something on this list which must have been your favourite game from 2019, and you're studiously avoiding it.
Oh, well, Angry Birds.
2019.
Yeah. 2019. What now?
It's still his favourite game 10 years on.
So that must have been the first creation of it. And I saw something random about how many different games that the developers of that had gone through, and they were almost went bust. And then they got to Angry Birds, which has now got a film, and there's a second one coming out. Work that one out.
Yeah.
See, I think what Ali's done there is taken me literally, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah.
No, I was going to mention it myself. Do you not like Angry Birds? Angry Birds is great.
We do, but I was trying to get Andy to talk about his other favourite game that's on the list.
Matt wants me to talk about Hannah Montana. Actually, it's not. It's an awesome game. I really enjoyed Hannah Montana. I'm not going to have anyone say a bad word about it.
We're not trying to say bad words. We're just
I've not played it. I've avoided it.
Pointing out that you've played it.
It's a nice, easy platinum.
No. I know, but Matt won't let me submit it probably.
If you want to submit Hannah Montana, Ali, you are more than welcome.
No, you're right. Thanks.
I can see the colour you're turning at the thought of that appearing on your trophy list.
I stand by it. I think I went in with a sense of irony firmly strapped on, and no, I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was good.
You went in with a strap on then, but there we go.
Yeah. Whoa.
And moving this swiftly on. So, yeah, I'm going to move this on. So, taking the Angry Birds comment and actually sticking with that mobile piece. Plants vs Zombies was 2009.
Do you know? To this day, I don't think I've played that.
It's all right.
I enjoyed it, and I don't know if it's maybe one of the better mobile games that converted to console, because it was actually as playable as the mobile version. And I put more hours into it actually on console than I did on the phone, even though the phone version was free. It was quite strange, but yeah, properly enjoyed that. Didn't enjoy the second one as much though. There's too much pay mechanics involved.
Yeah. I guess for me, other things on the list would be Forza Motorsport 3. Still got the keyring.
Oh right.
I got the collector's edition of that when there was a collector's edition. That was good fun. That was before I've always been a fan of racing car games. I always played them, but that was before a couple of years. I think it's Forza Motorsport 5 where I really started to take it seriously, and I now run no assists and different things. But yeah, that's always a good mention, because I think 4 was a bit meh. Oh, it might have been okay actually. and 5 was a bit meh. I can't remember. They get a bit hit and miss until they patch them out.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, fixed all the issues that they had with Assassin's Creed and made a very playable game and introduced us to Ezio, who's still arguably one of the best gaming characters we've had in the last 20 years.
Yeah. Like you say, it fixed a lot of the issues. It made the free running, climbing and things a lot more fluid. Because I remember on the first one, when you used to free fall down, you used to pretty much just fall rather than just kind of clamber your way down, whereas now they made it more smooth and...
They wrote the story well, they built it well, and they made him the star of it, which was probably the tougher thing to do, because Altair was not. He was slightly better than Aidan Pierce, but not much.
Yeah. Was it Assassin's Creed 2 where it was in Italy?
Yeah.
And you had to get on the hang glider thing and go across all the chimneys that have all the things of fire.
I can't remember if that was 2 or
Brotherhood.
Or Brotherhood.
No, I've not played Brotherhood. Must be 2.
I genuinely can't remember.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't remember.
I enjoyed that bit. Whichever
no,
one
Assassin's Creed 2 was definitely the step on, and probably the reason why we still have Assassin's Creed today. Because if they hadn't fixed it, that'd have been dead in the water.
Mm-hmm.
While we're talking free running, Prototype. That was a fun game. That was a proper old school single A title.
Was that Alex Mercer? Was that the guy? Was that?
It was the man infected with something that nobody knew what, who just went around mimicking people by eating them and absorbing them and running up buildings and battering tanks. It was dumb fun.
Yes.
But that was the thing. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I missed it the first time around, and I played Prototype 2 first. But I think it's interesting that in the second one, they were brave enough to turn Mercer into the bad guy.
Yes. Yeah, they did flip it around. It worked well. No, so I enjoyed Prototype and good dumb fun. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, that game was awesome.
It was.
I
was
tried
brilliant.
So hard to get the platinum on that, and I think
I have the platinum on that one.
Do you?
Yeah,
I think I had it on Xbox.
It was just ridiculous. It was ridiculously entertaining to slice people apart with Wolverine's
and
claws.
It wasn't too much like the film either.
It followed loosely.
Yeah.
But it added the extra bits in and built a bit of extra story and tied a few bits together in the whole X-Men universe, actually, that made you go...
It's just a really good platformer.
Yeah, it was.
Good.
Raven Software as well, which they do Singularity not long after that, and weren't they the ones who ported Modern Warfare recently, did the remastered? But anyway, X-Men Origins Wolverine, it was a good action dumb game.
Yeah, with your little upgrades and different things. And I think you had to play through it twice to get the platinum on a hard difficulty.
I've got a feeling I did it at least 3 times.
Yeah. And I think that's where I didn't get I think I had it on Xbox, so 1,000 gamer points, but I was close. I know it's like, I've got 800 and something or 900 and something, but yeah, really good fun.
Yeah. No, it was. We don't get enough of those games anymore, the ones where they've got a nice level of polish on them, but they're quite clearly not the 5 years in developed multi-million-dollar budget games. But they are just good fun, and they're good to throw 30 quid at and enjoy.
Yeah.
In a similar vein then to Prototype and I guess X-Men Origins, with conflicted male protagonists trying to walk the line between good and evil, Infamous.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Infamous 1, wasn't it?
Yeah. A game possibly another game you could chuck in the Assassin's Creed vein that it did work, and I'll give it, Infamous worked a lot better than the original Assassin's Creed did. But they fixed a lot for the second one that made it smoother and even more fun to play. But that's a series I would have liked to have kept going, and I know we did get up to Second Son and Last Light on the current generation, which were visually stunning, but they lost the character of Cole McGrath, unfortunately, and I never thought that the new beanie hat wearing denim punk did any good. Delsin Rowe, no offense to Troy Baker's performance, but Delsin was a.
I'm starting to think I can see why you don't like the guy in Watch Dogs 2 now.
Marcus.
Oh,
Marcus, because
something.
there's a bit of the Delson about him, actually, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. There's
Yeah.
quite a lot of the Delsin about him, but yeah. But the original Infamous was a lot of fun to play. I think I did play through that one twice, get both the good and the bad endings, and the second one I absolutely loved. I thought they
If I remember
nailed it.
rightly, wasn't Infamous one of the first games that took that? Because quite a few games have had that good and evil bit, but I think wasn't that the first game that kind of took it to another level, where it really gave you those conflicted choices and you wasn't sure where it was going to go?
I don't know if it was the first, but they definitely implemented it well.
Yeah, and like I say, I can't remember if it's first or second, but where you used to walk around and if you were evil,
Oh yeah,
the crowd, people reacted to you in a
They'd
certain
throw
way as
rocks
well.
at you while you're climbing buildings,
Yeah.
knock you off.
And and the actual area, it might have been the second one I'm getting a little bit confused with, because the posters and things and graffiti would change and stuff as well.
Yeah.
The game that always comes to mind for me when you're talking about moral choices and how it impacts your gameplay was it Jedi Knight 2?
Yeah.
Where you could choose whether you by your actions whether you went towards the dark side or the light side, and that impacted the force powers you had. That was great.
Yeah. They were awesome games. That we need. I know we've discussed this quite a few times in recent episodes, but we need more good Star Wars games.
I think
we just
that choice element. Actually, I think that was actually started in Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight.
Yeah, maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
but I presume I didn't actually play Jedi Knight 2, so I can't say that one. But I guess they took it that bit further, so that maybe they did implement it better. But you could go. Yeah, fully good or evil in Jedi Knight.
No, yeah, Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
which I still have somewhere.
that was an amazing
Nice.
game.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
This is sad going back to when I was actually a PC gamer in the late 90s, but you could mod it so you could change the color of your lightsaber.
Yeah, everyone did that.
What color did you go for?
Purple, obviously. I was.
Yeah, Mace Windu,
yeah.
baby.
All right. Okay. Well, from Dark Forces 2.
No. From Dark Forces to just Sinister Forces. Resident Evil 5, an Umbrella.
That was a good game. I enjoyed that.
We did a lot of co-op on that.
You always made me be Shiva.
You wanted to be Shiva. You just like looking at Chris.
He's so manly.
His arms are too big to fit through doors. He's just
a giant hulk of a man,
ludicrously
isn't he?
big,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's just a tree.
I know it didn't get the acclaim because it had a tough act to follow with Resident Evil 4, but it was actually very good fun in co-op. It really was.
Yeah.
And I kept going back to it. I went back to it for 5 years on and off. And I bought it again on the PS4 and started going to it all because I love it.
Certain times when you played it, you could come across maybe there was a little bit of scarcity of ammo and stuff like that. But Resi 5 always felt like the point in the series for me where the game threw away the pretense of the survival horror and just went full bombast. Do you know what I mean? Just like balls to the wall, Chris Redfield.
Yeah. Yes. There were lots of picking up miniguns, encamped emplacements, sniper rifle shootouts, big monsters. It was a lot of fun. It really was.
To quote Spinal Tap, it went to 11.
Yeah.
And they tried to turn it beyond 11 with 6 and ended up at 2.
Yeah, they blew their speakers. I loved the time that we spent playing Resi 5.
Yeah,
it was just an awesome co-op game. It really was. Especially when you'd played, because I think we must have played through it at least twice.
Oh yeah, we did it multiple times.
And then did it have like a time attack boss mode or something like that?
Yes, there was like a boss mode, the survivors mode. There was
Wesker. Oh man.
Oh, I tell you, the toughest part of that game was Jill.
Yeah,
Jill
ripping that
fight on the professional difficulty.
Ripping that thing off her chest.
Yeah, that was insane. That was the bit that took me. That's why I kept going back over 5 years. It took me about 4 years to get past her. Yeah, and the amount of times we just killed her because your aim was off slightly with your magnum, and
it just blew her head off instead of
shooting the thing on her chest. Yeah,
it's an awful section of game.
I've owned 3. I think I've owned 3 versions of Resi 5. So I had the original version. Then I think I traded that because I found the gold edition cheaper than the trade-in price of the version that I had, which had all the DLC with it. So I bought that one. And I've had the PS4 version. God, I may have well had another version of it at some point.
That's when I started playing it because I bought the gold edition.
It was like 12 quid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was something ridiculously cheap.
I found that cheap, told you about it, and you were like, I'm going to buy that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was arguably a week later, we bought, in the same vein, House of the Dead Overkill.
Oh, amazing game.
Yes. Which isn't on this list, but we're mentioning it anyway.
So from one, not quite sequel, but another one in the series, Uncharted 2. We saw a second one of them in 2009, which was loads of fun.
Can we have a bit of an amnesty here?
Go on.
I've still not played that.
You've not got the collection on
Yep.
your PS4?
Oh, yeah, I've got that.
Well, you've not played Uncharted at all, or just the second
Just the second one.
one? Oh, okay.
Right. You really needed an amnesty on that one because arguably that is the greatest game of the PS3 generation.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Stop recording. Go and play it.
Yeah.
All right, way back in 6 hours.
20.
Yeah. It's quite a long one. But yeah, that was a really, really good game and where the series started to take off, I think.
It did, and I think the third, when Drake's Deception came, it was probably on a par with it,
Yeah.
but it couldn't top it.
Yeah.
It was such a cinematic and well put together story, and the remaster versions are superb.
So we've picked 3 big ones, as we've mentioned. So Matt, start us off with pick one of the 3, whichever one.
Well, I'm going to go with actually the smallest, I think, of the 3.
Yep.
They're all big, but this is arguably the smallest one. And a little bit back to the co-op stuff. It's Borderlands.
Yep.
I haven't got sales numbers in front of me, but I seem to vaguely remember it wasn't the biggest release at the time. It had a troubled development. We'd had all these lovely video clips and almost live action cutscenes and things through the whole development process, and then it went off the grid. It just disappeared, and they reworked it from scratch and brought the cel-shaded style in. And it released, and I don't think people really knew what to make of it, especially it wasn't near Rage, but I can't remember if Rage was just in people's subconscious and it maybe felt a little bit like that. But over time, people got into it, and it was people getting into it late. And I know I got into it mainly because I had 3 or 4 people on my friends list who kept saying, this is a cracking co-op game. Just go and buy it.
It did reasonably well, actually. It was well received by critics and fans alike, and it was, I think, released in October 2009.
Yeah, it was quite.
And by December, it had sold 2 million copies.
Oh, so it did do all right. I didn't think it had the impact, but I know I didn't pick it up until sort of mid 2010. But actually, it was stonking. It really was. You could just lose hours traipsing around with friends, taking on all those enemies that were massively overpowered.
Yep.
And then chucked us the 2 sequels as well. The Borderlands 2, which I think it bettered with the character design and the variety of people that you met.
Yeah.
Nobody ever forgets Tiny Tina.
Oh, God, no. I mean, the one thing I'll say about Borderlands is I picked it up again in 2010, and I did find it a bit repetitive. A lot of the things that you were sent to do and find, and actually, it was Borderlands 2 when it really clicked for me, just because the characters and the story, and it just, I don't know, it felt more rounded, like a sequel should be.
Yeah.
But the base was there, and the core mechanics, the random generation of guns, the stuff you could do with them, and I think it's got to be the first game that really taught me not to hoard.
Yeah,
as soon as you get a gun that was better, bin the old one, scrap it, sell it. Don't hang on to it because you just won't use it.
Am I right in thinking one of the first kind of loot shooters as well?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, it was one of the pioneers for that kind of system.
Definitely on console. I don't know if they'd had them on PC prior, but it was definitely a newish concept to have to get your head around. I think that's what it taught me. Is just don't hang on to it. Just sell it, because in 5 minutes' time you're going to kill something else, which is going to drop a better weapon anyway.
Yeah, it's that moment. It's always in that series that moment of when you suddenly think, this gun's really not cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
This is maybe it's time to chop and change.
Yeah, you've got your favourites you just don't want to let go, but that's actually where Borderlands 2 kind of improved, wasn't it? It let you, to a degree, upgrade so that you didn't have to get rid of them as fast.
Yeah, you could re-roll them, couldn't you?
Yeah, but then you had your own personal stat upgrades, which added the buffs to the weapons as well, and it meant they didn't run out as fast, which was nice. But the original, I played out. I must have put 60, 70 hours into that game. It was a staple for a good few weeks.
Yeah, all right, good. Borderlands is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So go on, Andy. You take. Come on. What's the next one?
Well, I think I know which one we should leave till last. So I'm going to say Batman: Arkham Asylum. That was 2009.
How are we not leaving that till last? What's happening here?
I think because when we get to that last one,
we had to press on and hit record at the beginning of this. Otherwise, we'd have just spent like 30, 45 minutes talking about the game we're going to move on towards before we'd even started doing any podcasting. So that's why Batman's coming now.
It's in no detriment to how good a game that is.
Awesome, and it's basically defined what makes a superhero game ever since.
Yep.
It's a genuine genre changer.
It's you bleep it out, but it's incredible. I love it. I've purchased this game, Arkham Asylum alone. Well, some of it's come with a City as well. I think I'm on my fourth time and my fourth playthrough as well.
Wow.
Or have I owned it 5 times? So I had it on the 360 when it came out, and then I found my obsession with the collector's edition, which spurred on from City, Origins, and Knight. Was it Knight? The
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight, yeah.
So then I had to go and buy the first one again to get the boomerang, not the boomerang, the batarang. And then I've got it on the PlayStation 4 because they brought out the remastered edition. And then, granted, I've not brought it, but it's on the Game Pass.
I know it's not relevant to Arkham Asylum, but when Arkham Knight came out, I think, was it the weekend we were doing that Hitman trailer thing, Matt?
Well, it might have been
because you came to my house and we were meant to be recording a piece on the new Hitman 2016 trailer that just come out and they announced, and we just spent all weekend playing Arkham Knight. That was it.
Arguably, a lot of people say that it's a bit meh and with the tank and that, but
I enjoyed it. But anyway, back to Asylum.
Yeah,
the comic book geek in me just adored it. Absolutely loved it. I loved all the storytelling that went on that wasn't explicit, but kind of went on through the collectibles, the things you could find, the bits of story elements, the Joker riddles.
Yep.
The number of different characters you came across.
Yep. Yeah, they're like little mini bosses and stuff.
The voice acting is phenomenal. Having Kevin Conroy as Batman was just amazing. But Mark Hamill,
the Joker.
God.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
Yeah. It was just it was such a solid game, and obviously City built on that a couple of years later, where it wasn't as linear, I guess, a little bit. Although it doesn't mean that Arkham Asylum was necessarily. City opened out a lot more, whereas Arkham Asylum, although you could go around and go where you wanted, you were literally confined to the asylum.
Yeah.
But it's just such a fantastic combat system that has brought on so many other games since then. So all these Shadows of Mordor games have taken a lot of combat techniques from that. I'm trying to think of a few other games that have taken it.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man used the combat system arguably back from the PS2 version, but it's heavily influenced by the fluidity and contextual actions of the Batman games.
And it was just so well produced. And I remember when it came out, and I'm fairly certain it was extremely polished at the time as well. I don't think there was a lot of bugs, glitches. There might have been a few here and there.
I don't remember a single one from the original release, but it was bang on, and the build up for it, the press, the trailers, everything made it look like one of those games that you genuinely look at and go, that's not running on this current generation. That is too good. But it wasn't. It was exactly what we got.
And it was the depth of it as well. I mean, the amount of different... You've got all your Riddler trophies to get. There was random challenges to blow up balloons. And you had all your different gadgets to unlock. And then you had you had your normal, everyday kind of running around, beating up people. But then you had the bits where you had to go and stealthily take out people.
Yeah.
And do the whole Batman thing, and then their heart rate went up. And,
that was it. You had your investigations, your detective mode, your predator mode, your combat challenge. Oh, it had a brilliant variety.
The kind of scarecrow platforming sections as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really creepy and unnerving in parts. Almost a little bit Hellraiser-esque with the way he went at you.
The thing that I was found about it, though, with so many different things going on, no particular aspect of it overstayed its welcome.
No, not at all.
It's really nicely paced, and just some of the plot beats were just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Or you kind of think, yes, I'm really making some progress now, and then something would happen in the plot, and you'd be like, oh, what?
Yeah, and I'd love to know how many people that are listening to this, and if it happened to you guys, the bit about midway through the game where you have another, I think it was a Scarecrow encounter where you were actually the Joker. But before it actually loaded into it, it went glitchy and kind of froze for a few seconds. And until I think my second or third playthrough, because I've played through this game too many times, I still remember restarting my Xbox because you think it's crashed. Because it just like glitched out, doesn't it? Because it then takes you back to the start of how the game first starts, but you're actually the Joker.
In the thing. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. The first time that did kind of make me think, what has just happened? But then it's like, if you remember back to Metal Gear Solid on the PS1 with the Hideo screen when Psycho Mantis takes control of it.
Like it's changing.
Yeah, the control on is going to make it move.
That got me the first time I ever played it.
No, Batman was stunning. It delivered in exactly the right ways, and we got what we wanted out of it. And I think, and the two sequels that followed will have the detractors. I still think Asylum is actually the most tightly controlled and presented game. I think when they moved out into the open world, they lost a little bit of control of it, and maybe the familiarity with the mechanics means it's not as impactful in the sequels. But they are great games. Even Origins was a good game.
I enjoyed Origins. People slate it. But...
It isn't produced by Rocksteady, but actually it was a decent game as well.
Yeah.
But the whole introduction, the Asylum piece, if anybody ever said they wanted to play a Batman game, that's the one. That is the one you have to play first.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic.
You felt like Batman, didn't you? And I think that's the most... that's probably the biggest compliment you can play it, is you went in and you thought, I am Batman.
Yeah. And I fully expect every single gamer in the world said exactly that after the first time they'd batter the hell out of the punks in the intro cells.
That joyous feeling when you mastered the block and the attack buttons and the various combos.
Yeah. And I'd argue that it's probably, I know Spider-Man might be reaching for it, but I would argue that it's probably the best comic book video game we've ever had.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree.
No, I think that's a good shout.
Because although Spider-Man is really good and the story's great, it does kind of give those nods back to Batman and I guess Spider-Man 2. But I think Batman took what Spider-Man 2 had and just, and Rocksteady haven't done anything else since, which is mad.
Yeah, it's the Batman series and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I'll go with you on that. It is. It's timing, it's presentation. The point it came out, nothing has bettered it, but I'd agree. Spider-Man came very close.
Yes. Yeah.
It's Conali. Lead us in.
So the last one.
Ruin the suspense. Let people know what they've probably already guessed.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Yes.
So I guess this is going to be one of the very few times that we talk about Call of Duty in such a lovely light.
It is because it's after this game.
You see, but this is it. I used to be a massive advocate of the series. I used to love it, absolutely loved it, and it's Modern Warfare 2 that gave me my love of the series. Modern Warfare 2 and the first Black Ops, and I think after that, Modern Warfare 3 was good. It was a nice way to wrap up that trilogy. But after that, they've lost their appeal to me, really. But
Yeah,
it's
I
just
agree with
the
that.
storytelling in it. It was great. It was really, and this is the thing about 2009. There were just some really brilliant story-driven action games.
The story is good. For me, it was the fact it followed immediately on from the first one. And the story had blown everybody away in the first game, and then this came and just amped it. But it had the negative press to drive it as well, with the whole no Russian controversy.
Yeah, and I have to say, there's not often when a game puts a screen up at the beginning saying, "Look, this has some really awful content, and if you want to skip it, you can select this option now," and then gives you the same message just before the level you're about to play. And I'll be honest, I sat there and I thought, "Oh God, what a load of nonsense! It's just hyperbole." And then you play No Russian, and I don't know about you, but honestly, I was just stunned, silent, and almost a bit in shock as you play through that, and you're like, "Surely it's going to be mission over if I kill it." No,
I didn't shoot anybody until the spoilers to anybody who may not have played Modern Warfare 2. You might get your chance in a few months' time because they're remastering it. I didn't shoot anybody until it hit the point where enemies actually appeared. You can just walk through it, but that's not the intent. They actually expect you to join in with the other terrorists, and it is, there is a very poignant feel as you're in that, and you were left with that decision.
So that is Modern Warfare 2 is the one in the airport, isn't it? That's the scene you're on about. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, I remember, like you said, there's a lot of controversy about it. Some people were, I'm not saying it was easy at all, but I think it just got took to the extreme because at the end of the day, it's storytelling, and if it was in a film, it'd be okay, but because you're actually doing those actions, it seemed to be frowned upon, I guess.
Yeah, I genuinely, 10 years on, I'm not sure it would get past today.
No, I'm not.
I don't think it would. I mean, the events,
it would have to be a
events that have
cutscene,
happened since then. I don't think it would.
No.
But that one scene seemed to define the game in the press for that year. But it actually, that 5-minute segment hides some of the tightest gameplay and tightly scripted moments that don't feel like you're being guided that I think I've ever been through. But we mentioned a bit earlier on the favela level. There is pretty much I think one route through that level, but you feel like you are lost. In the entire Warren.
The one comment talking about favela, the one comment you've put down here in the notes that we've made is veteran difficulty, which absolutely the second we said, let's talk about Modern Warfare 2, my mind immediately went to favela and grenade spam.
Oh yeah,
veteran in any Call of Duty game is a grenade spam fest. That's the only way they amp the difficulty. They just lob them at you. And I've always thought it's a poor way of doing your difficulty setting.
Yeah.
But I persevered with this game. I usually wouldn't. I gave up on it on, I think it was Black Ops. I just refused to do the veteran difficulty at that one. But with this, I did it. I stuck with it. I did every level right till the end. It was one that I felt achievable. And I still loved the script and the story enough to do it. But then it wasn't just about the story, was it?
No, but I have to say the plot points in the story were still ones to this day that I remember. And there's not many games where I can sit there and think, oh yeah, I remember that twist, or I remember that turn, or I remember that thing that happening. When you that moment when you realise who you're going for in that kind of Russian prison.
Mm.
And then the submarine section when you realise the implication of what you've just done and how that's going to turn the tide of the battle. I think Call of Duty has always tried since then to live up to these massive set pieces, but Modern Warfare 2 is the one that just pulled it off effortlessly.
Yeah.
The heel turn as well, quite near the end. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
And then what is it? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That bit when you're trying to get across that airfield, and there's two kind of rival factions.
Oh yes.
You know, there's just some really, really amazing levels and set pieces in there, and I don't think Call of Duty's ever quite lived up to what Modern Warfare 2 managed. Black Ops kind of did, but in a different way. Modern Warfare 2 showed you what a small, tightly disciplined unit could do in a full scale war. Black Ops showed you the more covert side of that.
Yeah.
And since then, I just don't think the series has quite managed to retain the essence of the storytelling.
No, well, it shifted its focus to the multiplayer, to the fact it has now ditched the storytelling element completely.
Well, I think they're bringing it back, aren't they?
Are
From
they?
what I've heard. Yeah, so I've heard that they ditched it for whatever the latest one is. And apparently...
Black Ops 4 wasn't it, the latest one?
Yeah, and apparently it's been... Although the multiplayer game apparently is quite good, and apparently it's one of the best, for Stu loves it, kind of battle royale modes and things in it. But apparently the shareholders and stuff have not been impressed with the sales figures, and they're like, why have we ditched the storyline and single player?
Yeah, so a minor aside, and whoever's editing this decide whether you want to put it in or not. But I've been having a look at some like statistics analysis software recently, and
You're living an exciting life, Matt.
Yeah, I do all these exciting things, and just testing it out because it's been sort of access to all sorts of different stats for pretty much anything you can think of, research purposes. But I did actually go and have a look. I found some stuff on gaming in Europe and gaming in the UK, surveys that have been done over the last couple of years, comparisons to lots of data. And there's the interesting question of the gamers questioned, how many of them play online games? And this is focused on the UK. So I'm sure around the world it differs depending on country. Even within Europe, there's quite a variation. But have a quick guess. What's the percentage of UK gamers that say they play online? This is from a survey in 2018, so it's not too old.
About 25.
I'll go 35.
Right, bang in the middle, 29 and a bit. So if you're talking in the UK, and I think it went up to a maximum of around about 35 for France, and it was down to 20% in Spain it might have been. But when you're talking that less than half your player base says, I'm here to play online games, that's a little bit of that's got to be a concern. And it's just mirroring what you're saying about what they might have seen in the sales, that it does put people off. People play the multiplayer if they've got the single player. Doesn't necessarily mean they go out and buy the multiplayer only.
Yeah, no, it's that.
Not in every case.
It's that trade-off, though, isn't it? I guess between how much money they're going to make selling a full-price retail game, and how much money they're going to make in the kind of tail afterwards in microtransactions and other things.
Yeah, but if you've got upwards of half your player base not interested in the first place,
yeah, that's
a potential.
Ties your hands, doesn't it?
Yeah. But that said, modern player bases and online games. Back in Warfare 2, I'd have recommended the multiplayer as a reason to go and buy it, and mainly because of the Spec Ops mode.
Oh, that was such fun.
The co-op missions are the best implementation of co-op I think I've ever seen in an FPS. Because they were just such brilliant scenarios. The Overwatch level where one of you's in a gunship and they see 1:30 at night with your thermal vision, and the guy on the ground running from farm building to shed to house. That was fantastic. I played that level over and over with a Scottish motorway cop, Fraser, if you're listening. I still remember the nights we put the hours into that. It was a fantastic game. We were both crap at it. That's why we had to spend so much time on it. But the difference now is it chucked you into how it made you feel when you completed it. The star ratings that to be honest, you could kind of ignore unless you were really going for the full scores, but you just wanted to get through the level. It was brilliant. And there were so many of them. It wasn't just like 5 and see how you could do. Was there like 5 or 6 missions in every tier? And then there was
23 Spec Ops missions over 5 categories.
Yeah. They were amazing. And I think I played those Spec Ops missions with maybe nearly everybody on my friends list at the time. It wasn't like your standard co-op game where you might just play it with one or two people for the entirety of the game. You would play with different people all the time.
I think the first one was the pit, wasn't it? Where you had to go through and do that shooting range.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In the co-op. Oh, yes. Oh, such fun memories. We're talking through this now. We've already briefly mentioned that it is rumoured that the single-player campaign is being remastered. I think I'll be getting it.
Oh, if they add the Spec Ops in as well, I'll squeal.
Yeah.
As long as they don't tie it in like they did with the first Modern Warfare remaster.
That's my concern.
The rumours are they aren't. The rumours are that it will be released standalone, because I don't know if there is a Call of Duty title this year.
Oh, okay.
So far, there's been nothing mentioned. I'm sure there will be, but I think we're in for it. But it is rumoured it is the single player only, and I don't know. It's only been mentioned in association with the PlayStation platform as well.
I'd be alright though. I'd be alright if it was just single player, because I'd quite happily go back and play that through again.
Oh yeah,
as long as it's got
Maybe
as long as it's got the Hall of Fame museum thing at the end, where it all just goes to shit when you press the button.
But yeah, Modern Warfare 2, game of 2009, maybe not, because I think we're already saying maybe Uncharted 2 would have been the game of the year. But in terms of the amount that I played that and the amount of fun I had out of it, it really stands out.
The top 3 games of 2009, in terms of metrics, number 1 is Uncharted 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and then Street Fighter 4.
Oh, right, well, not even on my radar, to be honest.
Yeah, and believe it or not, Arkham Asylum is 8th.
Way
that had an
down.
average score of 92.
I can believe it, though, because I think it's one of those games that didn't necessarily have mass appeal when it came out, because, you know, it's superhero games were pretty niche at that point.
It's before they went mainstream.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
we weren't, you know, we weren't in the midst of the comic book movie revival that we are now. And let's be honest, superhero games have been pretty crappy up until then.
Yeah, true. And we got Batman and we got Wolverine in the same year.
Okay, right. Well, that was nice. I really enjoyed going back and looking at some of those games from 10 years ago.
Makes us all feel old.
Wait until we do 20 years.
Might be struggling there, boys.
We've been near enough one of those episodes already. It isn't pleasant.
So have you got a gift for us, Matthew?
I have. I've got a quiz for you.
Oh
yeah. As soon as we've been talking about games from the past, it's not actually about games from the past, but it just vaguely links in. Anybody listening to the news in the UK this week is fed up of Brexit and an indecisive government. But one of the things they might have noticed if they got through all of that is that we've had reports that the gaming industry in 2018 in the UK was worth just under £4 billion.
Wow.
It surpassed movies and music combined. So as an entertainment industry, it's impressive. And to a degree, it's actually still looked a little bit down on as a kid's pastime, even though you get things like, which have hit mainstream news this week, the Gaming BAFTA nominations. So there's a massive recognition. It's hitting the public consciousness more than ever before, and there's a huge commercial business around it. It's not all news about gaming addiction. I spent 3 days on a game and didn't go to the toilet, or I spent £4 million on my dad's credit card and he didn't know. We're getting away from that, and it's becoming more of an art form and a serious business in the public consciousness, which is nice. So I thought about this in terms of, well, games selling more than music and movies combined. I wondered, out of the highest grossing movies and music of all time, could we compare them to games? It turns out we can't, because you can't actually get the figures for movies. So I'm sorry, Ali. I did try to gear this a little bit film guffy, but I can't get anywhere near. But what I do want to know is, I've got some of the best-selling games of all time and some of the best-selling music albums of all time.
Ooh.
And I want between you two to tell me, on a comparison, which ones have sold the most.
Okay.
So who wants to go first?
Ali.
Andy.
Who likes Call of Duty the most? Black Ops the most? I think it's Andy. I think Andy goes first because it features in here. All right, so I want to know, between Call of Duty Black Ops and Back in Black by AC/DC, which of them has sold the most copies to date?
Black Ops.
Is correct. Well done. But Call of Duty Black Ops has sold 26.2 million copies to date. Back in Black, 26.1.
Oh, that's close.
Very close. Very close. Okay, Ali. Nirvana's Nevermind versus The Sims.
Ooh.
Who sold the most copies?
I'm going to go Nirvana.
You would be right.
Yeah.
16.7 million versus 16 million.
I think The
Nice.
Sims has only kind of come into its own thing since like 2 or 3. Like where it got massive numbers, but anyway.
Yeah, it could be higher, but this is just purely the original Sims.
Yeah. That's what I mean, yeah.
Andy.
Yeah.
Appetite for Destruction against GTA Vice City.
Appetite for who's that?
Guns N' Roses.
Oh Jesus! I'm gonna go Vice City because personally, I don't care for Guns N' Roses.
Unfortunately, more people do care for Guns N' Roses, and it sold more. 21.6 million versus 20 million. Ali, Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf or Pokemon X and Y?
Is this like worldwide sales?
This is confirmed sales.
Just Stevenage.
And I'm saying that I'm saying that on the music side because there's actually there are two figures. There's the confirmed sales from certain territories, or there's a press release sales number which might not actually be accurate. So I'm going with the confirmed.
I'm gonna go Pokemon.
It was Bat Out of Hell.
Oh.
21.5 million versus 16.4 million. So Meatloaf doing a little bit better than Pokemon. However, I will mention Pokemon X and Y was the lowest selling of the Pokemon games in the list, and all the others did outstrip Bat Out of Hell. Andy.
Yeah.
Adele's 21 against FIFA 18.
Oh God. So many
The
teens.
Bells. Who are the Bells?
Adele's.
Oh, Adele.
The Bells?
Adele's album number 21
Yeah, I mean...
versus FIFA 18. You're going with Adele.
Sorry?
Were you going with Adele? Did you say
No,
Adele?
I was just sounding out. I mean, like every...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's got to be Adele because everybody...
I hate that one.
Everybody I know seemed to own a copy of that, and although FIFA 18 still shifts huge numbers, doesn't it? Absolutely massive numbers.
I'm going to help you here a little bit. I might not. But isn't that album like the biggest selling album of all time?
No, it's not.
Oh, is it not?
We will
I thought
get to
she
we
did.
will get to the biggest selling album of all time, but no, it's not.
Wasn't that up there then?
It's
Adele's or one of
it is a
Adele's?
very high selling album. Yes,
It is a very high selling album. But then, do you know what? I seem to recall that FIFA 18 smashed some records as well. So I'm gonna take a chance on FIFA 18.
Okay, you should have stuck with Adele.
Oh well.
It was Adele. 25.3 million versus a not to be sniffed at 24 million copies
Yeah,
for
fair
FIFA
play, yeah,
18.
Yeah. Because
I
it
mean,
was
it
FIFA
is.
18 that outsold, or was it FIFA 19?
It's FIFA
How did they
18,
do it? That outsold
Red Dead Redemption,
Red Dead
yeah.
Redemption in the UK.
Right then, back to Ali. Come on
Hit me.
over, Shania Twain.
Oh, I'd love
Isn't
to.
that the fastest selling album of all time?
Against Skyrim.
I'm going to go with Shania Twain.
Oh, I thought you might. It's Skyrim.
Is it?
Yeah, Skyrim's
29.6 million for Shania versus 30 million for Skyrim.
Skyrim's available on pretty much every platform, including the Texas TI-80 calculator, from what I remember. So
Yes,
It
I
is,
think
but
it is.
I see those kind of games as a little bit niche as well, with it being wizards and stuff.
fuck, I mean, come on, seriously, mate.
I like it.
Columns bought about 20 million of those copies by himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
only reason it's in there. Okay. Andy, Metallica's Metallica
The Black Album.
or or known as Metallica.
Or the Black Album.
Can you have got some S Club in here?
There isn't any S Club anywhere
They
near the
didn't
best
sell
selling
that well,
albums. So Metallica versus Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm going to go with Sonic because, again, I don't particularly care for Metallica.
What?
It was Metallica.
Yeah.
25.2 versus 24. And the Sonic the Hedgehog, interesting, the 24 million includes all the mobile downloads as well.
Oh, wow, really?
So that is a huge amount for Sonic to do.
I just like the little blue critter in his red and white stripy shoes.
All right, back to Ali then. Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette or Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't the right answer now, but we come back in 3 months and it probably will be. 23 million at the moment is Red Dead, 24.4 for Alanis Morissette. But given that Alanis' album is over 20 years old and Red Dead is less than 6 months, that's changing very soon.
I've got a lot of time and respect for Alanis Morissette after she played God in Dogma.
Oh, yes. Andy, the Eagles' greatest hits album, which is the second best-selling album of all time.
Amazing.
A greatest hits album.
It's because everybody bought it for Hotel California and nothing else.
Yeah, but Hotel California is in the top 10 greatest selling of all time as well. So yeah, Eagles' greatest hits or Super Mario Brothers.
just for the sheer bloody mindedness of it, I'm going for the Eagles.
No, it's the Super Mario Brothers.
I'm actually genuinely disappointed. I really wanted it to be the Eagles.
So Super Mario, 43.2 million. Eagles, 41.2 million on their greatest hits album. Right then, okay. Ali, a chance to steal, actually, with this.
Oh.
Thriller, which is the best-selling album of all time.
Yeah, until last week.
Yeah.
Or PUBG.
Please be Thriller.
It's PUBG.
Off. Can hate that game.
50
Battle
million.
Royale games, I hate them all.
50 million versus 47.3 million for Thriller. That is a nearly 3 million gap at the moment. So surprising? Anything really surprised you in there?
Yeah.
That gaming is outstripping music sales?
Yeah, I'm disappointed that the Eagles hadn't sold more.
Yeah. Interestingly, this is obviously only physical sales. I suspect if there was any way measuring the streaming elements of it, there might be a completely different picture here.
Yeah.
But what we have score-wise is you both started brilliantly and you got the first ones right.
There we got them all wrong.
And then nothing after that. So it's actually a tie at 1-1.
Yeah.
And I have a tie-break question.
Boo.
Oh.
The tie-break question is, I want to know how many copies the best-selling game of all time has sold. Nearest person wins. I'm just debating whether I want you to guess what that best-selling game is as well. No, I just want to know the copies.
All right, okay.
The game that sold best of all time is Tetris. How many to the nearest million has it sold? Andy?
72 million.
72. Ali?
So that's been around a while, hasn't it?
It has.
180.
Ali wins.
Oh, what was it?
170 million copies of Tetris have been sold. It is leagues ahead of the next. I think the next was Minecraft. That is absolutely phenomenal. Hey, good one. So I hope you've learned something and we haven't had to listen through Mills and Boon novels. So, bonus.
Thunder Horse.
That's it. We're done.
Thanks for the quiz, Matthew.
Yeah.
So, how does it feel being on the receiving end of a quiz for a change? It's been
horrible.
a while, hasn't it?
Horrible. I've forgotten why I liked making them and not taking part in them.
Thanks very much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the trip down memory lane. We hope that actually you are still playing some of those 10-year-old games in one form or another. And
Stuart Neal will be.
He hasn't got there yet. I think he's still about 18 years away from 2009. And yes, thanks for listening. You can reach out to us at Codec Moments if you want to say anything specific about this podcast. We're on Facebook under Codec Moments. Ali, your Twitter handle is?
Corn_wolf.
Andy, you are?
At Clinical Andy.
And yeah, let us know your thoughts, and we'll be back hopefully in a week. Bye.
Bye.
Ta-ra!